Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Zoom section organized by Spiritual School TV on behalf of Bhagavat Mission. We warmly welcome you all. Today's topic is Will Enlightenment Bring Friends? Presented by our respected teachers, Mr.SankaraNarayanan. Questions and feedback are welcome in English. Thank you, and let's begin. Sir, you can start, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. Let me begin with a very familiar and a short story. The story goes like this. A young monk, he takes a walk along the banks of a river and he finds a scorpion struggling in water. So he bends down out of grace and he picks the scorpion out from the water using his bare hands. Naturally, the scorpion stings him, and reflexively he drops the scorpion back to the water. Again, the struggle goes on, and for the second time, the monk bends down, and this time he uses a leaf. Still, his hand was within the reach of the scorpion, so it stings the second time. Again, it is he drops the scorpion, and the third time he uses a long stick, and mission is accomplished. He safely takes the scorpion out of water. Somebody was watching this, and he asked him, a passerby, he asked the monk, see the scorpion is hurting you. Despite of that, you are trying to save the scorpion. So why do you do that? And you know what the answer was? The monk said, it is the nature of the scorpion to sting, to protect itself. And it is my nature to help any being. When it is in suffering, I try to help. So this is my nature. Definitely, most of you must have heard this story already. And there are many anecdotes in the lives of great sages that demonstrate huge compassion, great acts of generosity, and things like that. And we appreciate such stories, but we believe that to appreciate the stories like this is one thing, to adapt the behavior in our life is another thing. So we reserve such demonstrations to great sages like Jesus or Mahatma, you name it. But I would like to bring the knowledge that Bhavataya shared for us regarding the inner mechanism of our mind. So the same thing happens to us, and the same thing, somebody hurts. Let us come away from the scorpion and take the example of people, how people behave to us and how do we respond. So somebody hurts us. Somebody hurts an enlightened master. What happens within the master? Does he also get hurt? Because we always listen to stories that project them in a very different light. They are always larger than life to us. I recollect one very beautiful passage from Kambaramayana, which talks about great qualities of Lord Ram. One part is this. It says, Ram was called and he was informed that he is going to be the king the next day. But the next day comes and Ram is again called, and this time his father says that you have to go to the jungle and spend 14 years, live there at least for 14 years. And Lord Ram's reaction, his spouse, goddess Sita, notices how does Ram react. And Kambar says like this. He says, "Ithirupadam, இத்திருப்பதம் மேவு என்ற போதிலும் இத்திரு துறந்து ஏகு என்னும் போதிலும் சித்திரத்தில் அலர்ந்த செந்தாமரை ஒத்திருக்கும் முகத்தினை உண்ணுவார்." Let me translate loosely. It says that Ram's face showed, his expression was likened to a painting of a full-blown lotus. Not the real lotus, full-blown painting of the lotus, because even real flower, it changes minute by minute. But Kambar says that Ram was he took everything into his stride with a lot of equanimity, that there was no reaction changes in his facial expressions. He says he was always smiling when he was presented with good news, and when he was presented with so-called bad news, negative news. Okay, so we have heard so many stories like this, but what goes inside great people? Any difference, whatever happens, are they any different from what happens to normal mortals, normal people, ordinary people like us? Bhavataya beautifully has given this knowledge of how the inner mechanism works. He says that it is when something happens outside, it is all right. If something bad happens outside, it is very natural for us to feel bad, feel agitated, or feel any other negative emotions. Just because someone has become a Buddha, someone has become enlightened, does not mean his heart does not feel negative emotions like hatred, jealous, anger. No, that is not the reality. But they have this understanding that as long as they don't identify with themselves with those emotions, as long as they don't act upon those emotions are going to die on their own. We do not have to prevent some emotions from surfacing in our heart, in our consciousness. Okay. So, and at the same time, if some emotions have already entered our space, occupying our space, we don't have to drive those emotions away. And so that is the understanding. So even for enlightened people, even for great sages, there is every chance that they get hurt. When whether it is scorpion stinging or somebody using an abusive in a not so appropriate word or behavior, they do feel all those emotions, but they do not do anything, react with the emotion. They they know that they have no job inside their interiority, so the emotion disappears, and they remain to respond in sensible ways. That is the inner mechanism. Now, the topic for this session is, will enlightenment bring a lot of friends? Because we have many expectations about the enlightenment, not only that, and what happens after enlightenment. We have many myths and many misconceptions and many stories, many expectations. So this is the topic. I think relationship, when we discuss about relationship, it is important that we understand love from the perspective of an enlightened master or enlightenment. To love is to ignore the hurt feeling that comes from somebody else. If I suppose I have a friend, a very good friend, but for some reason he talks something or he does something and it hurts me, to continue to love that person, like ever is to ignore the feeling, ignore the hurt that happens in me, let it die down, and then respond sensibly. This is love. To love is to ignore your emotions, to ignore your experiences that comes from this person. Because otherwise, to love somebody who always appreciates you, who always abides by your desires, your rules, who always hugs you, it is very easy. And this love is also divine love. I won't say this also is pure love. When somebody is kind to us and we are kind to him, kind to the person, some reciprocity, this is love, which is perfectly all right. And when the same person hurts us, and if we can ignore our inner feelings and then embrace the person, and that is also love. And so that is putting friendship over our emotions. That is another way of driving home the same point. Putting friendship over emotions. That is true love. And I would like to point out here that I'm not talking about any abusive relationships. It's very unfortunate situations that so many people are in abusive relationships and one side lopsided friendships. I'm not justifying that with the feeling, with this understanding, you have to bear with them. I only try to point out that so many of us miss friends because they did some stupid things, something knowingly or unknowingly, and then we disconnect that friendship. This should be avoided. So, enlightenment does not, in my understanding, does not guarantee that your friend circle expands. There is no guarantee. I would like to give an analogy of somebody knowing how to drive a car. Suppose somebody uh, lands car and they can be trained, they can be demonstrated how to stop a car. To stop a car, the know-how. To stop a car, you hit the brake and the car stops. This know-how. But when to stop the car, this is something you have to consult your rational. This is so the first aspect of gaining the know-how is enlightenment. And when to apply the brake, application is something you consult your intellect, rational mind. You go by your whatever your rational says. So in relationships again, the enlightenment, this idea only gives us helps us to make choices. I would say enlightenment in this context is choice realization, not self realization. Choice realization. You realize that you have a choice, but choice making is totally different thing. You have to know what choices to make. For a very long time, I have this kind of mindset. When it comes to relationships and friendship, I had very limited number of friends because I applied a wrong intellect, wrong concept. I would go by this formula. If some friction happens with somebody, immediate the first action is I would recollect what had happened, analyze what had happened, and then I would ask myself one question: did I make this mistake, or the mistake lies with my friend? If the answer is the mistake lies with the friend, then I would foolishly expect the friend to realize his or her mistake, and expect them to come to me seeking my forgiveness, and then I accept their friendship back. So how foolish I was. It never happens this way. So as a result, if does not happen, I simply disconnect, never bother to disconnect. It may start maintaining distance from others. So many good friends we lose this way. But now I understand. Let me conclude very shortly in 5 minutes, give me just 5 minutes. So now my understanding is this, that um, in Tamil they say, Kutram Parkin Sutram Illai. If you start finding fault with friends, and you will not left with any friend. It is like and it is easy to find fault with others. Very easy. I can entire world. I say, look at the entire world, and I see everyone is at fault. And the same thing. That's how others also feels about us. Okay, finding fault is very easy. Going one step further, I really understand. I really have this conviction that there is no fault at all. Nobody is at fault. I have one very interesting story. I read it very long back in a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, authored by Stephen Covey. And he points out this interesting thing from his life. He says he was hosting a birthday party for his very small child, son, one of his sons, maybe 5 or 6 years old. The party was going on smoothly, and suddenly there was a commotion. And he looks at the hall, and his son was holding all the toys, gifted to him just now by his friends, same age group. They all came, have gathered for his birthday. So they all brought some toys. And this child is not letting the toy, parting the toy with others. And other children, they want the toys so that they all can play. So it was a little embarrassing for Stephen Covey, because he himself is a relationship consultant. So he goes to the child, and all parents are looking at him, what Stephen Covey is going to do. And Covey says, he first explained, tried to appeal to the rationale of the child. He said, see, they who bought the toys, only your friends bought the toys. And when they only are asking the toys, they are not going to take the toys with them when they leave. They will leave all the toys with you. But till then, they are, they want to play with you. So why don't you part the toys with your friends? The boy looks, and no appeal. The idea does not sound great to the boy, and he says, no, I'm not going to part. And then Stephen Covey again uses another technique. He says, see, I have a chocolate bar that is your favorite one. You give me the toys, I'll give you the chocolate. The second attempt, a different technique, and the boy does not budge. He says, no, I want my toys. I'm happy with my toys. So now the third stage, and he forcefully snatches the toys from his son, and gives the toys to others for them to play. And Stephen Covey recollects this incident after several years, and he realized one thing: what he did that day was wrong, because he concludes that as human beings, we have to experience at that stage. For it, coming back to that incident, the boy had to experience a sense of ownership before developing this experience of before developing the sense of gracefulness, or what to say, other giving, the emotion that you need to give the toy, give something, that comes later. So in other words, a flower needs to be a bud before it flowers. So this is the understanding. And from looking at that perspective, almost everyone is in a different stage of growth. So at this stage, it is it is only just that they behave that way. So accepting them as who they are, accepting them for what they are, this is very important. There are no mistakes. In fact, they are buts. In this, extending the logic, they're like buts. So we have buts, nothing wrong with being a butt. Yes. So this is the understanding. Enlightenment helps us realize what love is, and it is us to make use of this idea. Choice making always rests with us. With this, may we all get understand the teachings of Bhagavad, and let us put friendship over anything else, and let us all have a very large grow our circle of friends. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Uh, uh, so, as going by the template, if you have any questions related to enlightenment or any, friendship or relationship, anything, I would try to answer. And so it is all is, time is yours. You can ask questions. Just in case you want to ask questions in Tamil, I think we can accept that also. Tamil பேசினாலும் I'm okay. It is up to you. So language is not a barrier. Yes, Satish, hand raised
Uh,
when you begin. Yes.
yeah, thanks, sir. Thanks for your wonderful time. And
Yeah.
like my question is like I got entitlement and I understand I am like the saint and whatever hurts me, I'm accepting that. I'm like a Ram, Lord Ram, and I'm accepting that. So I will not become the prince or a king. I need to stay out of the country for 14 years. But the saint maybe taking a treatment for few days to get him healed, correct? And Lord Ram and Sita, Lakshmana, they suffered Lord 14 years in the forest, correct? So how to handle those situations? Because I know that like our master mentioned like everything is happening outside. So there is nothing happening inside. Okay, where there is nothing to do inside, actually everything is happening outside. But also like we need to it takes time, right? Like 14 years and days to come out of that, right? So how to handle that particular time period?
Okay. Satish, I'm yet to understand the crux of what you are trying to ask.
Yes, please.
You Yeah, you see, if I understood properly, are you saying that how some external situations, when they affect, how to handle them, or
No, I'm handling. I
okay,
handle the situation, but after that, there is a certain period it takes for me to
that
come out of
repercussions,
that. Correct. The
that
impact.
effect is there for some time.
Correct. Yes, the effect
Okay,
is
okay,
there.
okay,
Ram
okay.
spent
How
like
to?
14 years, correct? So that period, for example,
Okay,
like someone borrowed money from me. I know that their situation, they cannot able to return. So I manage the situation. So to get that debit cleared, right? It takes me 5 years. Okay, like I'm paying from my own pocket. If this is the example, so how I handle that 5 years,
okay,
14
okay,
years,
okay.
the
Yeah,
days.
yeah. Yeah. No, I don't want to give a specific, answer to a specific situation. But otherwise, if there is something you can do in the external world, you have to do. And but otherwise, we have to take a decision. As I said, knowing we have to, if you take a decision as to what needs to be done, and if I really have this understanding that this is what I have to do, then the internal turmoil will not long last. It is only when we are in dilemma, saying whether should I talk to him or should I do something. If you are not clear about it, whenever the thought comes up, on its own, we act upon those thoughts, thinking wrongly, believing that there is something to do, but in reality there is nothing to do externally. So when there is nothing to do externally, if we are convinced, then we will not, nurture those feelings. We will not entertain those thoughts, entertain the negative emotions. We will not build on those emotions. We say it is nothing can be done. Fine. So, okay, coming back to the same, to your example, there is no way our friend is going to repay the loan. repay the interest, repay the principal. And I have signed, I'm a guardian, I have signed some contract on his behalf. And so I have also no other choice other than paying for my friend. And hopefully within 5 years, he is going to come back. You can either take that decision or you can go to the court, a legal battle. All these options are there. So we have the moment, if we are not making choices in our external life, concerning our external life, and some negative, circumstances, and the thoughts keep haunting us, the emotions keep popping up. But when we have this clear understanding, it's just a matter of, I won't say how long, if the emotions do not go away, what should be done. Even then, there is nothing to do. And in the example of Lord Ram, instead of, Ram feels happy that he's, even after he hears that he has to go with his wife and brother to forest and spend 14 years, he feels, he feels happy. He doesn't feel, as that's how it is projected. He feels happy. Suppose if I were you, suppose I feel sad, and there is no difference between feeling this happy and feeling happiness and feeling sorrow. Both are one and the same. I can feel sorrow, still I'm not inferior to somebody who in the same circumstances felt happy. So feeling happy, or that that is not a qualification at all for enlightenment. It does not qualify you to become, say that certified that you are enlightened, because so many hardships are happening and still your heart is not affected. That is not the certificate. That is not the validity. So what is important is accept whatever emotions appear, arise on their own, and then it is just an energy. You need that energy for some actions outside. You are going to do that, otherwise you are not going to take any actions. So as simple as that. Let it last long, no problem. So that is the kind of mindset we need to have, because there is no difference between this feeling or that feeling. Okay, so if you take that, when we come to that understanding, we are least bothered about what kind of emotions our hearts go through, then whatever happens is fine. That is the ultimate, kind of flowering. Yes, Satish, I think I have at least partially answered your question. You have any other questions, Satish?
Yeah. So my understanding is like after the situation happened, correct? So we may be suffering from outside and inside, but
Yes,
there will be there will be like some choices will be there, correct? So we may
yes,
need to take the choice and
yes,
we need to work on it. Okay,
yes,
so that is the only thing we need to do. So
yes,
there is nothing to worry about
yes,
outside
yes,
or inside. So the
yes, yes.
happiness
And
and
sorrow,
sorrow both are same.
one and the same,
We
one and the
treated
same. No
only
qualitative.
same
Yeah, yeah.
for the person who entitled, correct?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, got it,
Yes,
got it. Now
yes.
I
That is the
understand that.
understanding. We have
Yeah,
choices as far as external world is life is concerned. We have no choice when it comes to internal life. That is nothing we are going. We have no
got
choice
it.
other than we are
The
helpless. That's
choice
what. Yeah.
is the external side, like uh,
External choices are
the
there.
knowledge, like we need to take a decision, but
Yes.
internal there is no choice, like
No choice.
only the
No choice.
divine and
Yes,
bliss.
yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
got it,
We have
got
to.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the last question is in
Yes.
the second part of your
Hmm.
speech, right? Like you mentioned, like everyone is not perfect. Like
Yes.
if we say like குற்றம் பார்ப்பேன் சுற்றம் பார்க்க முடியாது.
Yes. Yes.
Like I
Yes.
understand that point actually, but like when we are in the relationship, like father, mother, wife, husband, or child, so like there will be like some mistakes they are continuously keep on doing that actually, so it's
Yes.
become habit for them, and we are not able to after some time, right, we are not able to tolerate that. So like when we convey them like this is disturbing me, and they are also not changing, right? So how to handle that kind of situation? I accept that like none of us are perfect 100%.
Okay. See, this always, let me begin with a disclaimer that this does not apply to extreme situations.
Okay.
You don't have to remain in a relationship when there is very extreme abnormal behavior. That is a very different question. But even otherwise, so even Valluvar says, மிகை நாடி மிக்க குழல். See, you look at a person and see whether they have predominantly good qualities or predominantly bad qualities. If they have predominantly good qualities, then it is better you accept them, you love them. And if a person does not change a particular behavior, even after you mentioning them, that only shows their inability to change. At that time, they really may like to change for the sake of, a family member, a close person, but they are unable to change. There is some kind of inability. That also happens all the time with every
Yes.
one of us. Certain aspects, even if we want to change, even our own mind says, you are lazy, you have better change, and it is not happening with us. We have the conviction that we should not be in this way, but we ourselves cannot change ourselves. Then, so we have to give a long rope. Just hug them for what they are, and just hug them, like accept their quality, their whatever this thing, but not, as a problem that you are sacrificing your all these things. The only thing you have to sacrifice is when they do something stupid and it hurts you. That hurt feeling you have to sacrifice. This is my
Okay,
understanding.
got it. And related to this, right? Like my last question is, so like when we point out our to the relation, correct? Like a friend or a wife,
Mm,
or son, daughter, right? Like
yeah.
so this is the mistake you are continuously doing, like it's disturbing me, correct?
Mm, yeah.
So what they say is like they will point out you are also doing another mistake continuously. You are also not changing. Why
Yes.
we need to change? For example, like when I ask my wife, why you are not turning off the light and fan, so it's increasing EB bill. And like she used to watch me, and suddenly she catch me, see, come here, TV is turned on, fan is turned on. So like now you are at kitchen and having your lunch. So like is it not? Are you not increasing the electricity bill? Correct. So how we can avoid this cat and mouse fight? Mm.
Yeah. This is, as you said, it's tit for tat.
Tit
We
for
are,
tat. Yes.
yeah,
Mm.
tit for tat. So we turn supposedly intimate relationship into, they become intimate villains for us. That happens in almost every marriage, I think. So maybe we can, the answer well. We have to, we have to stop. The nitpicking is something we have to avoid. Some, if it is not a major mistake, I think we have to,
Yeah, it's
because
not
the
major
moment,
mistake. As you
yeah,
mentioned, like it's an intimate relationship only, like within our
yeah.
family. Mm.
The moment we look at other person, the first thing that comes to us is the mistakes they make. One, two, three, four, five, six, five mistakes they make, and we have to see whether it is worth fighting for. Some mistakes. Nobody is perfect, as you say, as you know, and we also have our own idiosyncrasies. We are. Each one of us is a person with million blind spots. I know what is there behind you, but I do not know what is there behind me. I do not have that, I don't have eyes behind. So we also have so many things. As long as it does not hurt, it hurt others, and it is not a major thing. I think we have to overlook small mistakes, because otherwise 24/7 the time will not be sufficient for us if we keep pointing out mistakes. And
Mistakes. Mm.
most of them is 90% of the mistakes are not worth fighting for. So just leave them, and then they feel happy around you, because nobody otherwise this feeling will be there. This guy has come and he's watching me. I don't know what he's going to say now. So that kind of pressure will be there. They feel relaxed only in our absence. So there's such a sad thing to happen in a marriage. So Just be there as a spiritual. One way of defining spirituality is that you are in a room, but you are so spiritual that nobody notices that you are there. So that is another experiment that you can do. Just disappear from the scene. Let them be very happy, and always there is another thing they say. Be a gentle host. This applies to family situations. And suppose you are hosting something, a party, and
Mm.
people come from other, our friends and others. When they make mistake, they pull the chair with a lot of sound, or they break this or that. So many things happen. But as a gentle host, we know we are host, and we say that's fine, no problem. I'll take care. It's somebody tomorrow. Our maid will come and clean the house. Don't worry, everything. We say maybe one or two things, children come and play, and we say don't go to the pool. That is the only thing off limits. Otherwise, do whatever you want in the house. You break anything, I don't mind. But as long as, or say, as long as you don't play with sharp objects, I'm okay with it. So like a gentle host, we have to have a very minimum rules, very minimum
Okay.
rules, very major rules. No for some serious areas. Don't spend beyond 1,000 rupees a day, or some kind of thing. That is fine. But as long as you spend within that, I'm okay with it. So some kind of giving lots of giving a long rope, just like how God has given us a long rope for to each
Mm.
and every one of us. We have to enjoy. We have to do God. We have to play God. Giving long rope.
Yes.
Yes.
And like as you mentioned, right? Like we should not do like we should not also convey that I'm putting a rule actually, correct? So we need to politely say like as per your safety, correct? So better not to do.
Yes. Some kind of convincing.
Convince.
We can apply. Try to appeal to their brain and heart, and see if something happens. If they are not convinced, still they have our love, still they have our freedom. So that is
Thank you. Thank
a
you.
healthy attitude.
Today I'm taking out of one point the choices when the situation comes, right? Like I
Yes.
never thought about these choices, like what choices are there and which one I need to take and work
Yes.
on the
Yes.
choices and not worrying about the situation I faced or
Hmm.
like what are the pain I'm facing that, correct? So this is like good learning for me today actually. Thank you.
Lovely. Happy. Any other questions? As I said, Tamilium கேட்கணும் fine. We have another 5-10 minutes. ஏதாவது கேள்விகள் இருந்தாலும் கேட்கலாம். Chatல ஏதோ கொஸ்டின் வந்திருக்கு நினைக்கிறேன். See. Good evening to all. Sudhakar. Fine. There are Nagarajan sir and Sudhakar sir, and then Miss Tilagavati ma'am. Tilagavati ma'am. So one by one we can take. Nagarajan sir, can you please unmute and உங்க கேள்விகள் இருந்தா நீங்க please.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much for the speech, sir. And also, I want to pick up from the previous person who asked the question about this trying to correct correct the mistakes or correct the people actions. And I agree that we cannot fully control, or exactly what you said. We should not give a feeling that they'll be happy in our absence. Yeah, totally agree. So but consider a third person in that same situation. For example, same situation, yeah, me, my wife, and she's like not switching off, not keeping cleaning things. I agree, we can overlook some things to keep the marriage happy or the situation happy. But consider there is a third person, like my mother is there, right? And she is now like putting pressure on me. Hey, why your wife is not doing this? Yeah, okay, will you not ask? I mean, so we are entirely now. Yeah, I accept. Oh, yeah, this is not possible. She has her own workload. She's managing a lot of things, and she cannot keep track of everything. But if I say this to my mother, she, oh, you're handpicked things, or you're covered. This
Yeah, yeah,
diversity.
something like that.
We have to face these things as well.
I think then you
And
have to accept your
so
accept
after
your
a point, exactly, after a point, what happens is, even if we say, okay, let my mother complain, I don't care, then you'll feel like ஜட மாதிரி இருக்க அப்படின்னு அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு perception is there. So what's
that
your
is
thoughts?
that perception comes from your inner critic. So you accept the inner critic also. You accept your complaining mother. You accept your inner critic. You accept your, as long as you are clear that it is only going to create more trouble. People become defensive. I have not come across any person so far. I don't remember when you say mistake and that person accepts the mistake. It doesn't happen anywhere. So they only become defensive. So then we can tell, it is not that we have to keep quiet. பொருட்டண்டு நட்டர் மேற்சென்று இடித்தர் பொருட்டு. If someone, in friendship, if someone is going beyond a limit, you have every right, you have your moral obligation to tell the person that no, what you're doing is wrong. So that is obligation, is all that is our duty. We have to discharge the duty. But beyond that, if the person is not able to, they become defensive. Maybe the way we have presented the point, that has to be corrected. That is, we have to be more creative. So many masters, they don't preach, they don't teach. They do something else. They do some kind of creative. They are very creative when it comes to dealing with people. They don't preach. So it's no one listens to sermons, no one listens to lectures. So they do something, they take time, they see whether the person is open or not, and they do something very creatively. Even some physical demonstrations they do, and get the person understand. When they themselves realize the mistake, they correct the mistakes. We will have to be little patient. And like the other person is a third person is complaining. The complaining person also, we have to understand. Inner critic is the worst thing. So as I said, I think when we are very clear what we are doing, and then we can shut our inner critic also up. So that is also possible. We can tame the inner critic. Otherwise, unnecessarily, because anytime it can come and it can create self-doubts in you. It can accuse you. All these things can happen. It all comes from so many other factors. So we don't have to listen to our inner critic also.
Okay.
Yeah. Sudhakar sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Sudhakar sir. Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you for your detailed explanation regarding friendship and friendliness. I totally agree your point. You said Kutram in Tamil, Kutram Parkin Sutram, like that one sentence itself, itself enough to explain everything. So as you said, that is extremely correct. A saint or ordinary human being for everyone, that is the only sentences which we have to follow. Kutram Parkin Sutram Illai. Then if we understand these sentences fully, then we make more friends. That is no about that. I totally agree with you, sir. But my discussion with you, what I am going to discuss with you, sir, don't mistake me. I am I'm not arguing on any point with you. I am just discussing with you regarding my question. In your speech, you mentioned the hurt which is getting by saint and ordinary human being. Both are getting hurt. Even though saint or jnani, he will get hurt, and ordinary human being will be getting hurt. Only the difference is ordinary human being, so-called human being, will be continuing the hurt, and the jnani, saint, they are just let go of the hurt, and they are feeling free. This is the point you mentioned. Yes,
yes,
sir.
absolutely.
In that, sir, I have even a small doubt in that.
Okay.
Sir, we heard lots of story about saints, Ramana Maharishi. Even we are having direct saint Bhagavataya. We are seeing him. Even we consider ourselves as a jnani, so we understood the concept, and we can say ourselves as a enlightened person. Not an issue. But my perspective is, sir, when we have the person inside us as like mind. So as Bhagavataya mentioned, we are existing because of our thought. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. In the thought, there is two part. One is experiencer, one is experience.
Okay.
So experiencer is keep on experience the emotions, think thoughts, and whatever happening surrounded us. So in the thought, one part is continually experiencing all those things. And if you understood, the person is nothing like a thought. He is himself defined as a person and he is experiencing all the things. This is the basic core concept of thought and thinking. So if we understood the person really not existing in our mind or inside us, then who will be getting hurt, sir?
Okay. The
As
first.
I said, I understood we are not able to go with that stand. If we take the saint like Ramana Maharishi or Bhagavad or someone who is having extreme level, I don't label it as extreme level, but who is not having identity with their mind and body, and they are detached with all the things, and they are not considering themselves as a person inside them. If that state they are having, then who will be getting hurt, sir, as a saint?
Okay, okay. See, one thing is that you can understand, imbibe all the teachings of Sri Bhagavataya without getting into the part of experiencer and experience, what is experiencing and who is the experiencer, all these things, because I consciously stay away from these explanations, because Bhagavataya simply says that we exist because the thought exists. That part is very clear. And there is an intellect. So thought comes, and the next thought is again a thought. Intellect is also a thought. So it says, it understands that such a thought, such an emotion has arisen in us. And it is up to us, we have a choice to fight with the thought, to go with the thought, to go with the emotion, fight with the emotion. That is a normal tendency. If a negative thought comes, it's a human tendency to just fight, drive away the thought. So that is what we feel. But an enlightened person realizes that all they have to do is ignore, and then the thought goes away. So this understanding is more than enough to imbibe the complete core teaching of Ayya. In one word, he says, "Ulla vela illa." So that is more than enough. And otherwise, what happens is, the lots of theories we can develop as to say who is the experience, what is experiencing, so this is something they have, many masters have done. And we get into certain areas, without getting into those areas, we can still find solution for our problems. And I think you are saying that uh, who is you mentioned one thing. You said that enlightened masters do not have the I thought. That is what you said. But I don't think so. Our master says that the I thought is very much there. I am this body thought is very much there. I am this, I have this, I hold this position in such a situation. That is also very much acceptable. And so this having this I feeling is all right. And second thing is that the person who experiences, at that moment, if you're awake, if you're a little conscious, then you can find a distance between you and the experience also. That is, in another in other words, you can keep a distance. You can maintain a distance between you and the other person. At that time, I would say I'm an intellect, and mind. What I'm observing is a mind. So there are so many different ways of looking at this thing. Very different, many multiple explanations can be given. But for our imbibing Aya's core teachings, we do not have to get into this. I have so far managed without getting into all the intellectual questions. I understand that it is not necessary. But if you have any specific point you would like to make, please let me, for my sake, please share it one more thing. If whatever I have said is not related to what you have asked for, so please let me give it a second attempt.
Thank you for your detailed explanation, sir.
Fine.
I understood. Now, I am not saying that I thought is not there for saint. So even though saint or anybody or normal person, the I thought is necessary to function in our daily life.
Excellent.
So the only thing is how the I thought is working in saint and the ordinary human being. This is the difference. Once we get the enlightenment, I think so. The same I thought will be different for saint and ordinary people. So because this is the only difference once we get the enlightenment. Yes, sir.
I
thought it
have
one thing.
beautifully, yeah, I have, I know, again, my second attempt, okay.
Okay.
Aya beautifully says, once I asked him very long ago, so when I met him first in Thiruvannamalai, I said, Aya, you think, you are enlightened? Okay, yes, okay, that's fine. But do you think you are enlightened? I am enlightened all the time. He said, he laughed and he said, no, I don't have to think I am enlightened all the time. And also, Aya beautifully says, and another, once he said that to be enlightened means you do not establish yourself as somebody. If it is
Yes.
not required, you don't, suppose you are an MBBS doctor and you don't have to be a doctor everywhere. So you don't have to establish even within the clinic, you don't have to establish yourself as a doctor. Sometimes solutions can come from clinicians, I mean, the patient also. So trying to establish that you are so and so person in a given situation, that can be counterproductive. So that's what Aya says. So I think there are absolutely no differences between how, at a qualitative level, I thinking exists in a lay person, in an ordinary person, and I thinking that I sense of I that belong, sense of belongingness, that how an enlightened master experiences, both are one and the same. I don't think there will be qualitative level differences. Maybe yes, they associate themselves with something else, and I associate with myself in something with some other thing. So but qualitatively there is no difference. That's my take.
Okay, sir. Understood, sir. Well, sir.
Thank you.
So why we are discussing this I thought? Because the I thought is the core point which is dealing with all the aspect of enlightenment. It's like if make friendship, how we are taking other persons, how we are treating other persons, how we are getting hurt, how we should give hurt to other people. All based on thought. The person who is the person we are having inside us. That's why I just mentioned
This
this
is a beautiful
quote.
point. Yeah, the
Yeah,
beautiful point.
I understood. I understood. Thank you for your detailed
Yes.
explanation, sir. This is I just want to discuss this point with you.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for your lecture, and
Thank you.
we'll give more guide to the people and expecting more.
Thank you.
Sir.
Just
Thank you.
on this point, okay. So this self-knowledge in another way that at least I relate to it. I understand this area, saying there is something called self-knowledge, and at a given situation, who am I, and in this situation, that is the self-knowledge is very important. In Mahabharata, Arjuna says that I am his relative to Krishna. He says, how can I fight with my relative? How can I fight with my guru? So all Krishna does in the first two chapters, second chapter onwards is this. He says, he corrects the self-knowledge. Arjuna, you think you are a relative, but right now you are in a war field. You discard this I am relative part, and you think you are a protector of your people. So there, all he makes is a self-correction in the self-knowledge. Of course, for Arjuna, others are relatives, opponents are relatives. But now, the more appropriate one would be this self-knowledge. So the self-knowledge is something we may have to keep on revisiting. Suppose something is happening and we are there, and we have to be very, very clear. Ramana Maharishi used to be very clear on this. Once somebody asked, Bhagavan, so many, even in your ashram, this untouchability is happening in outside ashram. outside ashram, untouchability is happening. Why don't you do something about it? And Maharishi very clearly said, I am not a social reformer. So here, that self-knowledge is very different. And sometime, once what happened, some thieves entered into the ashram, and they were beating even Maharishi also. And seeing Maharishi getting beaten, people got agitated, and they said, his followers, they were about to attack the attackers. And Bhagavan said, we are sadhus. We should not behave in a very, like how they behave. So the identity is we are sadhus. Okay. At the same time, Bhagavan again says, not to confuse you with too many details, but interestingly, Bhagavan says, a householder who does not think that he is a householder is far better than a sannyasin who thinks he is a sannyasin. So he says, self identification is important. At the same time, you have to know when to discard the self identification also. So if it helps in the external world, fine. But don't think you are a self brahmachari, you are this, you are that. That is, if you are thinking like that, even if you lead a very brahmachari life, you are inferior, from this perspective to somebody who does not think that he's poor or rich, poor householder or all this thing. So these are some of the thoughts. Yes. திலகவதி மேம், நீங்க கை தூக்கி வரும்போது நீங்க ஏதாவது பேசுறீங்களா? Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
Thank you
evening.
so much for today's class. It was an eye-opener, how to
Thank you.
accept the good and bad like that. And one Thiruvalluvar's quote also you have told, Gunam Nadi Kutramum Nadi, Avatrul Mehi Nadi.
Very medical.
That is,
Excellent.
if Kutram is more also, we should accept. Gunam is more also, we should accept. Isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. No, he says, I think in my interpretation, he's not saying if somebody has so too many bad qualities, he has one chapter itself, Kuda Natpu. So he says that is predominant, then you don't accept. If good qualities are more, and gold comes with some impurities, so it is gold. So impurities don't bother. You don't lose gold. So that is what he says anyway.
Okay, both we have to accept. Whichever is more, we should accept, or both we have to accept.
I think, practically, we have to accept a person only when he or she has more good qualities. Yes. And then, because you have all sorts of people and you do not have to be friend with everyone. That is not there is no compulsion on you that you have to embrace everyone, whoever comes into your life. There are some dangers, getting another Quran which says that, when they people may worship like this, but within their inside their hands they will have knife. Padai udungu, annargam, aludha, something like that. Anyway, so that is one thing. Practically speaking, you accept good people as friends, befriend yourself, very choosy, no problem. But when they make mistakes, accept their mistakes, because you cannot find a person with 100% good qualities. But if you can accept a bad person, totally a wrong person, if you can accept, and if you can, if you want to accept them, if you want to reform, you want to do some experiments, nothing wrong in that, as long as you protect yourself and then engage before you open this fruit, jackfruit, you apply oil and everything, you do some precautionary things, and then you apply. So otherwise, I think the animals, they have to be within zoo. We can enjoy, we can appreciate, we can empathize with the animal, but we cannot open the cage and go inside or let it come into our house. So that is also, practically speaking, that is also there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, I can say a small announcement.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Looks like he accidentally stepped out.
Oh, okay. So do we have to wait or because he's...
Yeah, he's the organizer, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I don't have his number.
Me neither, sir. Yeah, he's back.
He's back.
Yeah, I think small issue with the internet.
Fine.
Yeah, just I will say one announcement. Sri Bhagavat Mission has introduced a new Android mobile application called Sri Bhagavat. So to download the application, open the Google Play Store on your Android phone and search for Sri Bhagavat. It will come. See, through this app, you can read and download free Tamil and English books, search for programs and events. Also access Zoom meeting links and stay updated with upcoming activities and announcements. Also, all daily Zoom meetings are also streamed live on the Spiritual School TV YouTube channel. You can search for Spiritual School TV on YouTube and join the live sections. Also, there is upcoming event. A new Enlightenment workshop like Jnanamgam will be held in Salem from 26th June to 28th. Anyone interested in is warmly welcome to attend. All the information available in the mobile application. So you can download. Also, you can book the program also. Upcoming all the program, all the information is there. So if anyone wants to join or you can share to your friends also, this application you can share, Sri Bhagavat. Sir, we can have another one question or...
No, I don't think we have questions. If there are any, I don't think they have. No more questions, sir. I think we can wind up.
Thank you, Mr.SankaraNarayanan, sir, for your inspiring wisdom and valuable guidance. On behalf of Bhagavad Mission and Spiritual School TV, I sincerely thank all our participants for joining us this evening. Thank you. Thank you very much to all.
There is one question. Is it all right? So this, or can we...
Yeah. Satish.
Hand raise. You have used hand raise option. And Satish, you are there or accidentally you clicked on the icon? Maybe, I think. No response. I think we can conclude, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hello.
Hello. Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, Satish.
Sir, accepting someone with whatever qualities he have, accepting him is not necessary. We are going to mingle with him or do work with him or having a relationship with him. It's not necessary, sir. If a person is bad, accept him internally, but we need not to work with him externally or do something externally with him. We can accept him as he is, the way he is. Yes,
Absolutely. That's what I practice. I think this is very important that we don't have to, go out of the way to, in the name of, building relationship. You don't have to do all these things. It's not required. But yes, there should not be no, you don't get carry. You may get hurt, but you don't carry your hurt feeling, and you accept the person for what they are. That is there. But you don't have to mingle with them, as you rightly said. You don't have to mingle with them, work with them, and test your let them test your patience. All these things is unnecessary.
Unnecessary. If he's going to disturb us, then we need not to work with him, or we can step up away. We can openly say we will not be able to work with you or do something with you. But we can accept him internally. We can accept him as he is.
Yeah, Satish, I think we have to be a little careful here. Because if a situation demands that, we need to work with them. See what happens in if you look at open the newspapers, what happens in with lots of political parties and political leaders, they are not able to work with others, but true leadership is this, if there is a result, we need to go for get that result. We need to have some, do something, and it has to be done. For that, you need to work with very different kind of people, and you are vulnerable. They may hurt anytime. Still, for the goal, for the cause, for the common good, I think it's a personal choice again. But I think we need to be open in office. Since you pointed out the context of office, certain teamwork. You need different specialists and different people, and they don't. It's they not all the five fingers are the same like that. So then, in the interest of the goal, we need to work with them. Only then, there is a term called Karya Siddhi. If for the sake of that objective, you need to have opponents. You need to work with the opponent. There's a beautiful book of Abraham Lincoln. Moment he became the president of the United States, he formed the cabinet with, his cabinet was represented by all the people who opposed him when he was fighting, all the opponents. He took 4, 5 opponents, and then he made them part of his cabinet. So this is not for the sake of magnanimity alone. That is also not there. But you need people, and then they are difficult people, difficult to deal with, but still the situation demands, and at that time we need to revisit. We need to have, if the situation does not demand, maybe it is again your call. I have seen some people, who are, even when there is no necessity, they would not mind working with them, because end of the day, when we say no to a person, it should not be because we don't like them. So the moment you have likes and dislikes, then consciously or unconsciously, we may try to avoid, meeting the person, working with the person. All these things will happen. Nothing will happen to the company, or nothing will happen to the team, but we will not grow. No, I know, again, this is a borderline question. I'm, borderline ethics and borderline this. It is up to you. You have to take a call, because you know your situation well. But otherwise, we cannot apply this thing. We don't have to work with everyone. You don't have to make friends with everyone. This kind of notion, we should not be. It is not applicable in all situations. In certain situations, we may have to realize that if the situation demands, then we will have to be a little flexible and accept others, work with them, fully knowing fully well that they may hurt us. So that's why putting results over emotions. So putting relationships, there are just two things in life. One is results and one is relationships. So putting results over emotions, then you achieve. Putting relationship over emotions, then you become friends. So we have to be a little cautious. There is no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Sir, we are close பண்ணிக்கலாம் sir, I think.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Today
you.
meeting is very excellent, sir. Actually, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity. Thank each and every one of you.
Thank you, sir.